Howdy. We had a technical fault when I was doing the address, the Afterlives of Our Pets during service, and there've been enough people asking if they could see it. Since we don't have it, I'm going to re-record the address now. So this isn't part of the service, but this is what I had in mind to say with a little extra that's come since. The whole concept for this conversation came from two stories I discovered on the internet of people who'd had afterlife visits from their dearly beloved pets. And I'm going to read the two to you as a start for our conversation. The first one is, our Great Dane, Miley, lived to be 11 years old. 3 days after her 11th birthday, it was necessary to end her life. She had developed a mass in her abdomen several months prior, and it became apparent she was ready to move on. Our vet came to the house and, in the most dignified and humane way, allowed our girl to go to sleep peacefully. Miley was a brindle weighing in at about 120 pounds, with quite a nice set of jowls and rather large floppy ears. After a nap, she would rise, do a dog down stretch with her front legs, and then stretch her back legs individually. Then, to get her ears and jowls just right, she would shake her head violently, making the most unique sound. Flap, 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 flap. The day she died, my husband and I sobbed nonstop from noon until 8 p.m. We finally went into our silent kitchen, me sitting on a stool at the counter and he standing against a wall. Neither of us spoke. It was as quiet as a tomb. Then, out of nowhere, we heard flap, 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 flap. We looked at each other and each said, "Did you hear that?" My husband and I are both well-educated professionals who don't delve into hocus pocus nonsense. But we do acknowledge facts when we hear them. Miley has now been gone 2 years, and she has only paid us one visit. There will never be another Miley. She truly was our best friend. Then the next one, directly below it, I had a similar experience with our precious cat, Gracie. She was with my wife and me for a little over 18 years. We rescued her as a kitten from the middle of a heavily trafficked street. We loved her dearly, and she returned that love many times over. My wife said she had chosen me, and I guess she was right, because Gracie chose to be with me wherever I was in the house. When she passed away last November, our hearts were broken. For days after that, I could be in my recliner and feel her jumping on the arm of the chair. The most interesting thing was at night when I was in bed, I could feel her jump on the bed as she would do in life and walk over to curl up between my feet for the night. This happened several nights before it stopped. I have no answer for this. Perhaps it's just in our minds because we don't want to let go, but we were comforted by her several visits. I'm sure God knows how much any pet is missed, and this helps with the pain of loss. In fact, with hearts and minds more open to animals and the world around us, we may experience this ourselves. And the author of the reports that I just read calls it the power of love, and references the fact that many animals can sense when their owner is coming home from work, for instance, and will rush to the door or rush to the window, a sort of remote sensing of situation. And in our lives, in all things, I believe that there is one strong connection between us and all that we hold dear and those who hold us dear, and that is love in many different manifestations. And Father Thomas Berry, who coined the name ecozoic, talks about how our connection, love-wise, is anywhere from molecular to the broad in this world. He calls it the universe. He says the universe is a communion of subjects, not a collection of objects. And his concept of ecozoic had to do with how our entire planet ideally is connected with love and deserves all caring and all protection. Now, I've talked in many different conversations referring to the Hawkins scale of existence, of frequencies from 0 to 1,000. And if we accept that the entire universe consists of different energy frequencies, and medical doctor Achin Choksi, who's trained in both Indian medicine and Western medicine, if he's doing a talk, the first thing he says is, everything is frequencies. All healing is frequencies. All disease is frequencies, just different disease and different frequencies. And therefore, we can take love as a set of frequencies, depending on what quality of love. And these stories show the movement of frequencies, if you will, something that in one sense, in rationality, seems unfathomable. So in the Hawkins scale, positive love is 500 and above in the scale of 1,000. And Hawkins said that Mahatma Gandhi was 760 of 1,000. Mother Teresa was in the 700s. I don't remember the exact number. And it is said that the Christ was at 1,000, the absolute pinnacle of pure love, of high frequencies, at least on this existence. And the 700 level is regarded where you go beyond love into the mystical connection with the universe and with the divine. But what about existences beyond our human ability to experience as real? And this is where we would expect to encounter, or would encounter, our beloved pets, such as I mentioned earlier, after the crossover. It would appear that there's a whole set of frequencies that are outside our normal ability to experience or deal with here and now. I'm reminded of two people I talked with who had died and come back, and they recounted to me how when they got to the other side, before they were sent back or came back, they found the pets they loved, the people they loved, all waiting to welcome them. Even though they were told, this isn't your time yet, they knew who was waiting for them when it was their time. So sort of a whole frequency of existence. I talked recently with a woman who acts as a research librarian with the Akashic Records. If you've not heard of the Akashic Records, they are, in theory, the eternal records of everything we have experienced, we have done as souls in this existence and previous existences. And her job was to go there at the request of someone, sort through their records and find that which was relevant to the here and now and bring it to their attention. Now, among us here are many people who have experiences gathering information or experiencing on frequencies outside this existence. And all of us have the opportunity to do this, depending on how committed we are to allowing ourselves to see beyond. Now, a reminder that in a previous reading from Emmett Fox, he explained that this, what we call life, is part of a continuum of our existence, of our energy existence, if you will, coming from here to this life, and then when this life or existence changes to other frequencies, carrying on. We're part of an infinity. We do not end. And where we live in this life affects our experience in this life. If we, well, let's not say if we, someone who chooses to live at the toxic energy level, which is 250 down to 0, will tend to attract people within their sphere who live at 250 or below. And in my work as a Lifton therapist, I encounter folks who are trapped there. And well, I won't say trapped, that's what they know. And part of the Lifton therapy is to help them realize that there's better. And what I read is that 250 to 350 is where most people reside. And so that's the kind of people they will attract, tend to hang with, have experiences with. Now, those of us here as spiritual seekers, I think we can take it as a given that in our spiritual seeking, whether we have used those words or not, all of us are trying to at least achieve a base of 500 of love as the core of our existence here. And the higher, the closer to Godhead, the better in terms of what I think we're seeking. The higher the frequency we live, I think the easier to connect to the other existences, to the other side of reality, if you will, or the shamanic side of reality, or the multiple universes or dimensions that we exist in. So how does this fit in terms of what our goals should be here? And how does that fit with the afterlives of our animals? The best way I think I can explain it is by sharing something that's very personal to me. And before I do, I want to say, I'm sharing with those of you who are here watching and are part of this community, but I prefer not to have it go beyond that. I trust you. I don't necessarily trust the whole world with this. So talking about myself as an example, my whole life, this life, has been a struggle to generate for myself anything more than a basic living income, the bare minimum, if you will. And working with Lyft, getting past my original mental illness, I continue to seek and find belief patterns, damaged experiences that are holding back all the good that the divine has for me, for you, for everybody in this life. And recently, while doing some more healings with some of the other Lifton therapists that I trade with, we uncovered 2 contributing experiences from past existences. During one of the sessions, we uncovered that during at least 7 previous lives, previous existences, I was murdered, quite literally stabbed in the back, and several of them, as near as we can tell, for the money I had, or for the wealth that I had. Okay, well, understanding that, having it carried forward here, no wonder I've never had more than basically the bare basics, because no one's going to kill me for nothing. And then even more recently, during a healing, we were trying to figure out why I have an instinctive distrust of the wealthy and the powerful. And as we were doing some release healings, all of a sudden, I found myself remembering, re-experiencing being a young teen peasant girl who's just been raped by the wealthy landowner. Well, that explains why I don't trust the wealthy, doesn't it? And so we had to do some releases around that. I'm still doing some reckoning with that. So step by step, I'm working to clear out the damage from past existences. And this leads me to where I want to close this talk. Yes, we are tied with love to our beloved animals who've gone before us and to beloved people who've gone before us. And as I said, according to some who've been on the other side, they're waiting for us to join them on the other side. But doesn't it make sense that we should use this existence to the most we can to lay to rest any damages we are still carrying from our past existences, from this, our past and this existence, so that we can rejoin our pets and our beloved people as maximum healed individuals ourselves. There are now, compared with even 20 years ago, so many different ways we can avail ourselves of to heal our past damage, our past experiences in this life and past lives. And this is a great moment to activate all our healing opportunities and find greater happiness and wholeness in this life. And from there, to be able to carry it on to the next form of existence, whatever it is, whatever dimension it is, whatever frequency it is, but where we can spend it with those whom we love, but for us to be in better shape than we were before. And that's what I had to say last time, with a little addition in my own wisdom this time. If you have questions and want to discuss this, talk to me. If you want to find or learn about more forms of or opportunities to heal this life, I'll be glad to share what I know of different opportunities. You know how to get hold of me. And if not, just contact the church. Signing off for now.